So what Code Academy is talking about here with these data types, they're actually not called data types in JavaScript. They're called primitives. So primitives are basically the fundamental, well, data types. I guess you could call them data types, but primitives is the actual word. They're the fundamental data types that are a part of JavaScript, the JavaScript ecosystem. So you've got numbers, number, big int, which you rarely, if ever, use, string, boolean, null, undefined, symbol, which also is rarely, if ever, used, and object. Okay, so a number would be like 5, 8, 6, right? Those would be three different numbers. And if I do 5, 8, 6, that's one number. Okay, you can also have larger numbers like 5e10, right? So that's that's using a float to multiply. And you also have NaN, which is not a number, which is actually still a number of the type number. It's a little bit weird, but it is technically still considered a number. It's still part of that primitive. You then have big ints, which are like really large numbers, and they have that n at the end of it. Okay, so as you can see here, you have an n. Basically, it's just a way to expand the number thing. And you can also have decimals instead of numbers. Sorry, I forgot about that. 6.5. But these don't use decimals. So this is, if there are massive numbers, you can also apply them there. This is just meant to make numbers a little bit more performative, but no one ever uses those. So you then have strings. There are three different types of strings. You have a single quote string, single quote. You have double quote, and then you have a template string, which will also allow you to do multi-line, which uses these tildes. So template multi-line string. And as you can see, template multi-line. But if I do this, it won't work, okay? So those are strings. Boolean, you have true and false. That's it. It's pretty obvious. In Python, those are capitalized. Here it's not. True and false. Null, null. That's it. Pretty simple. A weird thing about null is it's different than undefined. Okay, those are two different values. I don't remember exactly what it is. Basically, undefined means something that wasn't assigned. We'll understand this more later. But null is an actual. It's kind of ironic. If you do type of null, this will output an object, but everything else will output its like thing. Kind of stupid. So null is technically an object, and that gets back into the weird decisions that JavaScript made. So yeah, null is a little bit different than undefined, and it's also different than false, and it's different than 0. It's different than an empty string. Okay, we'll get into what the reason why all of this is in a second. Basically, all of these are called falsy values, and then these three are called, or these two are called nullish values. It's kind of stupid, but anyway, you have symbol, my symbol. Okay, basically, this is a unique string. So basically, if I try to compare this string to another, this symbol to another symbol, even with the same contents, it will return false. Those two things are not equal. It's not actually pointing to the same memory thing. So they are unique strings, essentially. And then you have objects. So my property, hello world. So this is an object. Okay, actually, technically, that's a scope. I'd have to assign it. Const object equals. So you got my property, hello world. Okay. You also have arrays, which are objects as well. So const r equals this. Both of these are objects. Technically, if you did type of array and type of object, they will both say object. So that's why we're not talking about arrays, or that's why arrays are not put up in here, because they're both technically objects. Okay, so now that we understand fundamentals of these primitives, we're going to log the string JavaScript onto the console. So console.log, okay, JavaScript. So make sure that you put on your semicolon at the end. So now we have JavaScript, okay. Console.log 2011. So notice how I didn't put that in quotes. It is a number. If I did put that in quotes, it would not be, if you're using a better terminal, the strings versus arrays versus objects, they will turn into different colors, so you can identify types as well on the thing. All right. Online, print that. Console.log that. Whoops. That. Great. Let's run that. Online for print that. Console.log 20.49. Great. We didn't learn any other things, or okay, whatever. Data types. We're now printing those to the console. All right. That is it for primitives. I'll see you in the next video on arithmetic operators.